Museum is a place where time does not matter. Looking at the artifacts, we are experiencing the most vivid and exciting moments of history. The program Secrets of Museums on Kazakh TV channel. A single meeting can influence the destiny, change the course of history, or just remain in the memory for a lifetime. They say that if we would write down every day and every step in our life, then, having studied in an old age the voluminous diary, we would clearly see how all the episodes of our lives are interconnected. Each of our solutions leads to certain consequences. If an outstanding Kazakh man in his youth hadn't got lost in the steppe, who knows what would then have been his life like. Day was fading. As the sun was setting below the horizon, and Alkey still could not find the way to the expedition camp. The young man has long been thirsty. He wanted to lie down and rest, but he knew as soon as the evening comes and the last rays of the sun hide, it will become cold in the steppe. Cold land during the night will take the remaining forces away, and who knows what all this can result in. It will be good if by morning I feel a simple malaise, and if in the night jackals or even worse the wolves will attack me, then it is as good as lost. These thoughts were frightening Alkey more and more. He didn't even have the matches to start a fire. He didn't have time to grab them with him because he did not expect that the search for a stream will turn into his loss in the steppe. The comrades warned me not to go far away. And why haven't I listened to them? The young man blamed himself. I wanted to show that I'm the host here, the son of the steppe people, who knows every hill and ravine in these vast expanses of the steppe. It was a scientific expedition in 1920 organized by the well-known Turkologist Abu Bakir Divayev in the Sirdarya River basin, aimed to collect data and study the Kazakh folklore of Zhetisu. Young Alkey also took part in this expedition. At that time, the young man was still choosing a job with which he was able to connect his life. From childhood, he strived to study. After graduating from teacher's courses, Alkey returned to his native village to teach children to read and write. Soon, he joined the expedition trying to communicate with interesting people. Abu Bakir Divayev was a Russian folklorist, ethnographer, and linguist. After studying in Orenburg in the late 19th century, he worked in Tashkent, teaching many Turkologists. More than 100 works by him have been published. Among them, there is a book of Kazakh folklore. And in 1939, a collection of Kazakh heroic lyrics have been published in Almaty. The group of Divayev remained somewhere far away, and Alkey wandered in the steppe, fearing to be frozen, and cursed himself for this mistake. Why only did I go to seek the stream? At least I should have taken a map. The evening became colder. Alkey began to think how to spend the night. Suddenly, the young man heard steps. Someone was coming near, as if creeping up. He looked back and saw an elderly woman. She stopped near the man and stared at him. "Hello, Apai," Alkey greeted her. The old woman did not answer. She silently dropped an armful of firewood from her shoulders and began to add 3 branches to the fire. The young man was happy. It meant that he will get warm. Time passed. The young man and the elderly woman were sitting near the fire but still remained silent. "What village are you from?" Alkey asked as politely as possible. "And what you're doing here, alone?" "To teach his own," suddenly the old woman answered. "Someone is looking for the shadows of dead people, and someone collects grass for a living." "Whom are you talking about, Appa? I'm not looking for dead people. We're here with the expedition in search of Kazakh songs and legends." The young man began to make excuses. "And you, well then, know the medicinal herbs. Well, how much have you collected?" Instead of answering, the old woman took a handful of dry grass out of a bundle and threw it into the fire. The young man got a strange smell and felt dizzy and sleepy. Alkey remembers vaguely everything that followed. When he eventually recovered consciousness, he found himself lying on the ground, and the old woman whispered something above his head. She held a necklace of clear stones in her hands. Those round glowing beads fascinated so that it was hard to avert eyes from them. Later, Alkey learned that they were beads of rock crystal. Rock crystal, transparent variety of quartz, in ancient times was considered a stone for clairvoyance. According to a legend, rock crystal is believed to enable a person to see the future, to be endowed with divine power and foresight. They were highly valued, so during excavations, the stones are often found in rich Sarmatian tombs. It was believed that in ancient times, rock crystal have been imported via caravan routes from distant empires, but now there is an opinion that such jewelry may have been produced in our region. Ancient legends tell about the magical properties of rock crystal. One of them says that there was a crystal mirror in the marble temple of the Greek goddess Demeter, which was used to predict the future. The information came through a priest. Making a certain ritual, he asked questions the mirror and immediately got answers. Their truthfulness eventually was always confirmed. And today, rock crystal is very popular among practicing magicians and healers. There are an endless number of stories about the greatness and power of rock crystal. Ancient Greek gods, kings, and great commanders drank wine from luxury crystal cups. Antique Emperor Nero had 2 beautiful cups cut out of large transparent crystals of stone eyes. Balls made of rock crystal were believed the royal regalia at the dawn of humanity. The rulers tried to see their future through stones and figure out the thoughts of rivals. Such balls adorned the scepter of Scottish kings, as well as Byzantine and Russian emperors. Greek poets wrote that gods could not deny a man if he was praying in the temple with rock crystal in his hands. Roman patricians escaped the deadly heat with a stone ice in their hands. The priests of various nations have used quartz lenses to obtain divine fire upon the altars. Ancient Maya peoples carved crystal skulls which were used to carry out their numerous rituals. It is said that if someone sleeps with such a skull, it is possible to travel back in a dream to the worlds where no man had been before. These travels forever changed the consciousness of Indian chiefs and made them demigods. Processing crystal skulls was so perfect that raises many questions about their true origin. One of these skulls, weighing 5 kilograms, is preserved today in the British Museum. Alkey could endlessly look at the beads swaying before his eyes, but he decided to stop this shamanic ritual. "What are you doing? Why did you befuddle me with grass and these stones?" he asked the old woman. "Do not be afraid, I won't enchant," said the woman. "I wanted to see what kind of person you are, whether you are a bandit wandering around. And at the same time, I saw your destiny." "Well, what kind of destiny does expect me?" the young man asked with a grin. "Destiny?" The old woman looked into the fire and began to reflect. "Not everyone has the right to know his destiny, but I'll tell you. You will be friends with the distinguished and most intelligent figures of our nation. Very soon, you will go to the big city with high domes and bells. There, you'll learn the business that will make you famous, and you will transfer your knowledge to many future generations. You'll write books with the help of which you will become known in the world and become the greatest mind of own people." Alkey was struck dumb. He could not speak. The old woman's words struck him so much. She began to pack crystal beads in a bundle. The young man noticed that there are various strange things in it. "What do you have there? I see the things for which Divive will give you a lot of money. It seems you excavated some mound. Come, show." The young man wanted to take one of the golden items, but the old woman straightened his arm. "Fancy that! You do not have to know everything. The time will come, and you will find such things. And also you will find the ancient cities that once existed on our steps and shadows of great ancestors. Now, take some rest." The old woman waved her hand, and Alkey instantly fell asleep. At dawn, the young man woke up to gentle twittering of birdsong. He looked around. There was no old woman. There was no sign of their meeting, even no ash from the fire. What was that? Alkey thought. Maybe I dreamed everything. But then he felt something cold under his hands. Looking at it, he was stunned. There were those crystal beads with which the old woman was making a ritual. So she was here. Everything was real, decided the young man. But all her words sounded weird. What's it all about? But after recovering himself, Alkey decided to forget about all what happened and quickly find the way to the expedition camp. After a while, he was walking toward his comrades, who happily waved their hands. He didn't tell anyone about the meeting in the steppe, but he showed crystal beads to Abubakir Divayev. Most likely, they are from some ancient burial, suggested the scientist. Here, in your land, there are so many of them that the excavations can last for 100 years. So start working, I believe in you, he said finally, patting Alkey's shoulder. One year later, Alkey entered the semi-pedagogical college where he met with Mukhtar Awezov. It was he who opened the way to the outstanding life for the young man and invited to study in Leningrad, a city with high domes and bells. Alkey graduated from 3 universities, studying archaeology and art. As time passes, this person's name will be known across the world as Alkey Margulan. Future academician was fortunate to study and get knowledge from the great Russian Orientalists such as Bartold, Oldenburg, Krachkovsky, Malov, Struve, Samoilov, Mar at the height of the development of the Russian School of Oriental Studies. In the 30s, Margulan was already famous across the country. In the 40s, he defended his doctoral thesis on epic tales of Kazakh people and became the chief of department of the Institute of History, Archaeology and Ethnography of the Academy of Sciences of Kazakhstan. At that time, Kanish Satpayev advised Alkey Margulan to work in archaeology. The academician, scientist, archaeologist, Orientalist, historian, literary critic, art historian, founder of the Kazakhstani School of Archaeology and Ethnography, all his life struggled against a primitive conception of Soviet archaeologists telling that there were no major settlements in Kazakh steppe. He proved the existence of the ancient cities with a highly developed culture in Kazakhstan. Moreover, the academician has suggested that in the northern and in the eastern Kazakhstan, there are the remains of ancient cities. Alkey Margulan organized an archaeological expedition which opened the largest center of civilization of the late Bronze Age, Begazi Dandibai culture, which had no analogues with other cultures in Eurasia. Necropolis and manors did not fit into the standard representation of the steppe Bronze Age. The massive structures built on horizontal slabs, unlike Stonehenge, already at that time were fixed with mortar, while plates have been stacked so that the vault was formed on the top. Beautiful, finely made pottery were found, thin-walled with rich decor and red polishing. Many of them had tamga-like symbols. Rich deposits of iron ore have identified the high level of development of the community. Ancient people were mining copper, tin, and gold. There were molding seams on the outer surface of the found altars, but they didn't mean that at all the primitive character of work. In contrast, the casting technique was so skillful that scientists still cannot solve the method by which the ancient masters fastened the legs to kazan, cookware. They are held much stronger than modern parts connected by welding. Who were the people of Begazi Dandibai culture? Answering these questions, Margulan wrote voluminous works. He came to the conclusion that there was a powerful empire in Kazakhstan in the first millennium BC. Its inhabitants were skilled horsemen, treated metals, manufactured jewelry and pottery, which amazed with their filigree technique. People communicated with the outside world, establishing trade and diplomatic relations. Interests of Alkey Margulan ranged in all areas of the social sciences. The value of his legacy cannot be overestimated, since his works laid the foundation for the spiritual revival of the people. Crystal beads from the ancient burial, which are stored in the Central State Museum, as if recall that mysterious night when Margulan met in the steppe folk prophetess. But the essence of this story is not to know own destiny. We told the story to show how the pursuit of knowledge and labor can help achieve any goals. Reveal the mysteries of artifacts with the program Secrets of Museums.